bunker bullshitters. Tonight, I want to talk about something that's circulating. Actually, I want to talk about a couple things, but mainly I want to talk about something security forces related that's circulating Airman NCO page, and just generally around the force and a couple different podcasts and social media pages that I pay attention to. It's the memo that was sent out talking about greetings, and how airmen should. I'm just gonna read a sentence from the memo, or a piece of it. A professional image is not superficial. It reflects discipline, attention to detail, and commitment to excellence, all of which directly contribute to mission success. And in this memo, it talks about how airmen should, say things like, "Hi, welcome to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. My name's Senior Airman McCoy. Fights on," or whatever the slogan or thing is that you want to put out there. And it was sent out to the force by Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, David Wolf. I've never worked with him. I don't know him personally. I would never sign up for that job these days, but hey brother, more power to you. I support you individually and as a person and as a defender and as a Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. But some things I think, could be sent out a little better. Maybe this memo goes to, down the chain of command and to the commanders and the chiefs, and they address their units versus getting it from a memo from the top. I can't tell you how many times when I was on active duty that we were forced into situations to answer questions with airmen and NCOs that we just didn't have the answer for. Like, well, Chief, why do we have to say a canned statement? Why can't we make up our own professional and own it, our own greeting and own it? I'm like, do that. That's what I would tell you. I would tell you units out there, you chiefs out there, commanders out there that are trying to handle this mess right now. It should have came to you directly, and you should have been able to take that, get the commander's intent, chief's intent, and implement that in your units. You absolutely should have been afforded that opportunity. Now, along the same lines as this, I want to talk about, that sentence I read about all of which directly contributes to mission success. Superficial, it reflects discipline, attention to detail. I'm currently reading a book, and I flashed it earlier in the video, called Carnivore Leadership. I want to read you a passage from this book that kind of gets after some of this, and it's silver bullet number 7. Always leave the workplace better than you found it. And in here he talks about, he's a pararescue guy. If you don't know who he was the top enlisted person in the Department of War, Department of Defense at his time. But at the end of the day, he was the top enlisted, and he done some cool shit. But he wrote in his book, there was a 4-star coming to the base. And anytime a general or a high-ranking individual comes to the base, there's an opportunity to have a lunch. There's an opportunity to ask some questions. There's an opportunity to put it out there like it ain't been put out there. So he took advantage of the opportunity, went to a lunch, and he decided to call the baby ugly. And the general, I'll read you this passage. "I saw this as an opportunity to call the baby ugly and make him aware of our current gear situation." Gear for training is what he's talking about. This paragraph is dealing with the gear and the stuff that they have to train with is inadequate. When he asked for questions from the forum, I raised my hand. "Sir, I agree with realistic combat training, but we are speaking out of both sides of our mouth when we say we fully support that goal." How about that? "As we speak, I have pararescue students training with outdated gear that negates the feel, muscle memory." Hold on, I'm having trouble turning the page. "Negates feel, muscle memory, and configuration they will be issued for combat. In fact, I wore that gear over a decade ago, and I find it negligent that after 4 years in combat operations, we have not upgraded to today's technology." To which the general replied, "I was not aware. Can you give me some examples?" So My advice to you commanders and chiefs out there would be, you put it out there like it ain't been put out there before. When I go through the gates to work, or when I've been to other bases, TDY, still, even after active duty, I go places and see things, whether it's traveling, whether it's work related or whatever. You know, I'll see defenders, I'll see augmentees, I'll see defenders on the gate wearing ABU vests. I don't know. I've been in those units where you just didn't have the stuff. Maybe the S4, the logistics people, forgot to put the order in. Maybe there wasn't enough, but OCPs has been around since I was at FE Warren. And that was at least 6 years ago. How do we still have people on the gates wearing ABU vests? So maybe instead of a greeting, professional greeting, we look at professionalism as, when you drive up to the gate, I see a defender that at least looks the part. Professional image, discipline, attention to detail. Because what those things tell me when I drive up to a gate, I could care less. I could care less about whether they say, "Good morning, Chief," or "Welcome to whatever base," pick one. What I do care about is the gear they have on, the equipment that they have in their hands, whether or not, if they're a right-handed shooter, they've got their D-bids packing, checking IDs with their shooting hand, their other hand in their pocket, all those little things, right? That's what's going to get you that professionalism. It's not going to be a greeting, all right? It just isn't. So, Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force, hey, I applaud you for doing what not many people want to do or will ever get the chance to do, especially as a defender. What does that Spider-Man used to say? With great power comes great responsibility. And I do believe, having never met you before, but have talked to people that have worked with you, I do believe that you have that. I do believe that you have the best interest of the Air Force in your heart. I watched you talk in front of the Senate committee about, you know, mental health and child care and housing and all these things. I know that your intentions are legit, but there's a lot more to a professional work environment, professional image than a greeting that I think the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force and the Chief of Staff of the Air Force could get after. Let those commanders, those chiefs, those senior NCOs get after a greeting. Let them have a grassroots effort internal to their units. See who could do the best one. And then you reward those things and create that grassroots effort where it becomes a thing. All right, so I didn't want to get on a soapbox this week, but I kind of did. I was listening to the Unpopular Celebrities earlier today, and we were talking about it there back and forth on, I think it was a Facebook or YouTube Live. So shout out to Unpopular Celebrities. So if you got a chance, check them out on YouTube, Facebook. All that being said, as we close every one of them with, do the work and lead better. Cool.